see the whole line of men firing at you, and you pray that those aren't live rounds.
The pounding of the horse hooves, the artillery going off, and the bugle calls, the drum rolls. I mean, you can't get any closer.
For a couple minutes, every great once in a while, you actually feel like you're there.
As some people refer to as religious experience.
It's like a handful of Viagra.
This year marks the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg, and this small town's reenactment has turned into one of the largest Civil War spectacles in decades.
Certainly.
The 4-day event has drawn over 100,000 spectators and 10,000 participants, including me.
Understand.
As a combat veteran who covered the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, I wanted to experience the front lines of the most studied and celebrated war in American history, and understand what drives these reenactors to go to such extremes to relive it.
It's kind of like my way of giving back since I wasn't able to serve my country. I am kind of, in my own way, 125, 150 years later. I don't have another buckle like that. I could pick one up.
Keith Krager, who goes by KC, is a longtime reenactor and one of the few dozen sutlers on site. That's what they call the people who sell replica uniforms in civilian clothes.
I could put a buckle or a belt on you.
You can easily drop $1,000 on a uniform, but luckily Casey and I are the same
That
size.
is a completely hand-sewn signal corps.
And he puts together an outfit for me from his private collection.
You don't mind us getting kind of sweaty, do you?
If I was wearing it, I'd get it sweaty.
Is that better? Yeah, that actually feels good. Not too bad.
Okay.
I grew up in the deep south playing football. In 4 years in the Army, I spent 2 summers in Central Texas and 2 summers in Baghdad. And this is some of the hottest I've ever been in my entire life.
We have an expression in the military: hurry up and wait. The constant rush to move somewhere, only to spend hours sitting around.
Reenactment, unfortunately, is the same way.
It's a lot of marching in formation and waiting
I mean, we could be out here in a couple of hours. Easy guy.
and waiting and marching, and then all of a sudden, but the battle is only part of the spectacle.
Sergeant!
Off the field, reenactors keep the show going.
Are you dumb blind? Can't you see that there mountain?
We become so entrenched in this incredible story that we can share with other people and become something that's not stagnant, but ongoing.
Cock it, bullet feeds into the breech.
With some real moments in between.
As long as you both shall live.
This event, as big and memorable as it is, what better day to get married?
After spending the morning as a Union soldier, I crossed over to the Confederate side and met a unit from North Carolina who invited me to join them on the cannon line.
Momentarily you're back, right where it was happening. And during that moment, there's that much joy in your heart, you can feel the tears well up in your eyes.
Despite having about 100 years of reenactment experience between them, you can still sense the excitement heading out to the battlefield.
Every time that gun goes off, it's just like the first one. Just like the very first time.
Even though they aren't actually firing projectiles, these cannons still use a lot of gunpowder, and they've been known to have accidents.
We're not supposed to have our hand on that rammer when it taps that powder inside.
You're actually required to hold a license to fire one of these, which George Worthington shows us
It says to a safety.
right before he invites me to fire one off.
Did I do all right?
You did great.
Woo! It is so loud up there on the gun line. The guns are going off to the right and left of you. And if you can imagine that, plus stuff flying at you and guys getting hit all around you, you sort of get a sense of what this must have felt like 150 years ago.
Anniversaries like this one bring a lot of attention to the war, but seasoned reenactors like Frank Winslow are worried his hobby may die off with his generation.
After this excitement of the 150th, I hope that people don't start losing interest. That's really what concerns me.
There's definitely something about being in the heat and the uniforms and immersing yourself in the show that gives you a new perspective on the war.
You gotta let me shoot some more then. I need it.
It's a short glimpse into the past, but a powerful one nonetheless. I can understand why reenactors want to share that moment with as many people as possible.
You traveled hundreds, thousands of miles. You just kind of think about for a second, why do I do this? Moments like this, it's giving back. That's why we keep coming back.